Have you ever wondered why, even after years of studying English, you still get tripped up or confused by a native English speaker's sentences? Well, in today's English lesson, I'm going to teach you 10 phrases that I know your textbook did not teach you because these are very casual phrases and you'll find them in everyday conversation with native speakers. The best way to learn a language is to study the new phrases in context of a conversation. So I'm going to give you a conversation today to study, and make sure to use the link below to download the free PDF guide that will teach you these 10 phrases as well, so you can keep studying even after the video is over. Now let's get started and let's listen to a conversation between two friends. Hey Adele. Yes? How's your neighbor doing lately? I know she's getting old. I don't know. Her health has really taken a turn for the worse lately. I haven't heard a peep from her. When I think about it, let me just give her a call. Hey, Susie? Is that you? Oh, good. Are you doing okay? Okay, just checking in. We'll talk more soon. Bye. Good news. Susie is actually doing great. She's out of town. That's why her apartment's been so quiet lately. Good. That could have gotten pretty heavy if her health had gotten worse. What about your other neighbors? Do you hear from them? Well, the Munozes next door, they just really keep to themselves. But the Shevchenkos, they live right across the hallway. They are social butterflies. They're always calling me to have coffee. Do they live kitty corner from your apartment in the hallway? Yes, that's their unit. And, sometimes I talk to Sheila. She lives directly below me. But she can just talk your ear off sometimes. And when she starts talking about her kids, I can't get a word in edgewise. Well, you know how people get when it comes to their kids. They're so obsessed. Yeah, I can't blame her. But I'm so glad you came over. Sometimes my neighbors just drive me up a wall. We often say that someone's health has taken a turn for the worse when we think that they might be close to death, honestly. I know it's a very dark subject, but this is a really common way to use this phrase. Or if you're having a problem and it's just getting worse and you don't think it can get better because it's gone so bad, it's really common to say, well, this is taking a turn for the worse. If you're having a bad day and it just gets worse and worse and worse, you could say, this day has taken a turn for the worse. And usually when this happens, it means you're pretty surprised about it. Things were going okay, but then they just started going really, really bad. They take a turn for the worst. A common way that native English speakers will say that something or someone is really quiet is they'll say, I haven't heard a peep. Or if they're describing a person who's just being really quiet, especially a child that you would normally expect to be quite loud, you could say, I haven't heard a peep from them. And for some reason, we say peep instead of a word, or just we haven't heard any noises. And sometimes if we have a friend that hasn't called or texted us in a while, we could say, wow, I haven't heard a peep from them lately. This means I haven't heard a call or a text from them lately. So this next phrase, I was actually really inspired by a movie, Back to the Future. Check it out if you haven't seen it. It's an absolute 80s classic, but the main character goes back 30 years from 1985 into the 50s. And when he says something is pretty heavy, everyone says, why are you talking about weight? What do you mean? And so this inspired me to teach you this phrase because we commonly say that something is heavy if it's heavy emotionally, if it makes us sad, or if it makes us feel a lot of feelings. So this phrase apparently was not common before, and in the 80s it became much more common, and today anyone that you talk to would know what you're saying if you say, wow, that's very heavy. If you're not talking about weight, if it's in the context of an emotional conversation, or someone tells you something very sad, you can say, that's so heavy. If you want to describe someone who's introverted or very quiet, they don't like to socialize, they might say hi, but they won't talk to you about their life, you can say they keep to themselves. So maybe you keep to yourself, maybe you don't like to talk to a lot of strangers or a lot of new people. That just means you're very introverted and you're maybe a little bit shy as well. The opposite of saying that someone keeps to themselves is to say that someone is a social butterfly. This is the most common way to say that someone is very extroverted. They like to socialize, they like to chat with friends, and they like to make new friends. They're a total social butterfly. So this phrase in the United States, kitty corner, means that something is located in the opposite corner from you. So think about being on a street, and if you say something's kitty corner, it's diagonal from you. Some places in the United States say catty corner, but according to my research, it's more common to say kitty corner, but you never know if you meet an American if they'll say catty corner, which just sounds funny to me. Both words really are funny, kitty corner and catty corner. A good way to say that someone just does not stop talking and talking and talking and talking, they talk a lot, they're very talkative, is to say they talk your ear off. This is a classic idiom to describe someone who talks a lot, and typically we use this in a negative way, like, oh, she talked my ear off today. This means she talked so much, I was just trying to get out of the conversation. So usually if someone talks your ear off, you're not that interested in what they have to say, or maybe they're just talking a lot about themselves. Going right along with talking someone's ear off, if you want to say that someone is talking so much that you're not able to add to the conversation, you can say that you can't get a word in edgewise. This is a really unique phrase that's used really commonly in the United States. Sometimes if there's a family with two brothers or two sisters, and one of the brothers likes to talk a lot, we'll say, oh, the other brother just can't get a word in edgewise. It means they're so quiet due to the fact that the other person talks so much. A really common conversational phrase is to say, you know how people get. This could be confusing at first, but it just means you know how people act, or you know what people act like. So it just means that this is common behavior for most people. A good example that comes to mind is you know how people get when there's free food. They start getting really hungry and they start getting in line trying to get their free food. So most people, if there's free food, they're trying to get some. You know how people get. A great idiom to say that someone is annoying is to say that they drive you up a wall. So in our conversation today, the neighbors drive this person up a wall. That means they annoy them. And even though they're friends with their neighbors and they like to chat with them quite often, they kind of annoy them at the end of the day. So just a very common idiom that's used here in the United States, to drive someone up a wall. It means to annoy. Thank you so much for studying with me in today's lesson. Make sure to download the PDF guide so that you can study these 10 phrases with me. And I'll see you guys in the next lesson. Make sure to check out EnglishWithKayla.com. Goodbye!